All right, we got the live stream up and running. Let me go ahead and check the mixer real fast. Yep, you can hear my voice. Go ahead and talk, everybody. Go ahead and talk. All right, excellent. So today we're gonna have a thumbnailing tutorial. Yay! So, I'm just going to go through basically my process when it comes to approaching doing thumbnails, with specifically thumbnails to backgrounds. But it's pretty much the same process no matter what you're doing. The steps are all the same. So I've got our brand new design template that Kyle made, and I kind of tweaked a bit. You'll find this inside of the Dropbox. It's really cool. I like it. It's a little bit more space to work with, and I like how we have our logo up here, and it's kind of nice, and I wrote down some instructions for you guys too, so it's just a bit cleaner, a bit tougher, and I like it. So thanks a lot, Kyle. It's pretty sweet. But that said, let's go ahead and dive into some how to do some thumbnails. So obviously, for those of you that don't know what thumbnails are, it's just very rough, loose sketches that you do of something before you actually draw that something. For example, if you're going to draw the Empire State Building, you're going to have to do some thumbnails of different camera angles of the Empire State Building. You'll have to gather some reference of the Empire State Building. You'll have to basically just do some sketches of it before you actually sit down to draw it for reals. That's reels with a Z at the end. You should never jump straight into drawing something for reals. It's bad. It's a very bad habit. You have to be very, very experienced to be able to do it. And even then, it's just generally a bad rule of thumb to go by. Always, always, always do your thumbnails first. Thumbnails are always the first thing you do, and they're very important. Thus, this tutorial. So let's go ahead and dive into the process. So today I'm going to be doing some thumbnails of the Water Castle, which is a location for our pilot that we're struggling on right now. And I'm just going to do some for you guys, and I'm going to go through my whole process. So whenever I do thumbnails, the first thing I'll do is I'll set up my entire document, which luckily I've already done for you guys. So everything's set up. Got my name up here. I've got the title, TT_tutorial_thumbnailing. I've got the date. Everything's looking pretty sweet. What I'm going to do next is, before I even do any sketching, I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer on here. I'm going to call it reference. And I'm actually going to zoom out here. I'm going to gather me some reference that I feel can help me on my quest to pursue deliciousness. So I'm doing Water Castle reference. I'm going to go to the Truetail Dropbox. We have some environment designs. Let's look at some Water Castle reference that we've got here. And I'm just going to see which ones of these inspire me. I definitely felt inspired by this one since the first time I saw it, so I'm going to drag it, drop it in here. Once my computer unfreezes for a sec. There we go. So give me a sec here, and I'll import that into Flash. Flash always goes slow the first time you import an image, but then after the first one it goes faster. Okay, awesome. So I want that right there for inspiration, but I don't need it that big. I just kind of need to see it. So I'm going to drop it up there. And let's get some more reference here. I know that there was some very inspirational stuff inside of here. So let's see. Just in case I want to do some interiors. Yeah, I really liked this one. So I'm going to grab this one out of here using the snipping tool. And I'm just going to grab it like that. That way all I've got is that. I'll go to edit, I'll copy it, I'll come back to Flash, and I'll paste it in. Let's see if we can find some more awesome stuff.
Ooh, what was that snipping tool?
The snipping tool is a Windows tool. Go to Start menu, go to the search bar, type in SNIP for snip, and bam, snipping tool. I actually have it hotbarred to my tool set down here because I use it all the freaking time. It just basically allows you to screenshot any part of your desktop. It's really nice. If you're using a Mac, you can hit Alt-Shift-4, and that does the exact same thing. But let's find some more reference here. Let's see. Oh yeah, I really like some of the stuff in here. Especially this
Command
one
Shift
right
4.
here. Love this one. Oh yeah, Command Shift 4, you're right. I was so close to being all Mac proficient. Because that's what we use at Floyd County. We use nothing but Macs over there, so I'm starting to get really good at using a Mac. There we go. I like that one. And let's see if we can find one more exterior one. I think those are two really good interiors. Let's find an exterior, and we'll use that as the reference. Normally, though, I like to gather tons of reference. I usually spend a solid 4 to 5 hours just gathering reference, kind of like what Kyle has done here. And I just do that before I even start my thumbnailing. But with regards to our time, I'm just going to pick out one more really good exterior one, and we'll go with that. That's cool. I I didn't see that one. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome. Oh yeah, this one's cool too. That's really, yeah, okay, here's my next one right here. I like that waterfall. That's a cool waterfall. Uh, that's gonna be my last one.
Yeah, there are a lot of little hidden gems in our reference area.
All right, and now I've got my stuffings all set up for me for reference. Normally, I'd probably gather like a good solid 10 or 12 more and just layer them all around here. And then what I do is I just zoom into where I can see all of them. Like maybe I have this one over here. I can actually make these a little bigger. So maybe I have this one right here. Maybe I'll have this one over here. And I can make these two a little bit larger. There we go. All right. Probably could have fit one more down there, but now this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to draw from here. I'm not going to zoom in. These are thumbnails. You're not meant to go into a lot of detail. It's meant to be kind of loose and just something to look at. Now, obviously, your thumbnails will kind of the next step to setting up your thumbnails kind of differs depending on what you're going to do. Like if I was going to do character thumbnails, obviously I wouldn't need to draw any kind of borders. I could just jump right into doing some character thumbnails of just silhouettes of characters, leaping about. Woo! He's like dunking a basketball. Bam! And it hits a midget in the head. He's like, oh, yeah. But obviously that's just loose thumbnails for that. We're doing backgrounds. So it all depends on what is required for the background. If this was not a pan, then that means that it's going to be a 16 by 9. It's going to be 19. Well, it's going to be 16 by 9 format because we work in widescreen. So let's go ahead and let's just set that up. So I'm going to create a box. Meh. And I don't really care what size it is. So I can just click this, come on over to here to properties, unclick the lock width and height values, and I'll set this to 16 by 900. Let's go. Invalid size and position. What's this stupid face? 1600. Okay, let's do this. 16. Oh, it's set to inches. What? Pixels. Pixels. Okay, that's a problem. Oh, all right, that's done. So I'll go 600 by 900. That way I've got 6 by 9. Whoops, wrong one. 900 by 600. There we go. That's widescreen format. That's too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to transform, lock it again, and now I'll just make it small. And I'd say that's a good size for a thumbnail. I'm just going to drop that down here, and I'm going to make sure that it's on a layer above what I'm drawing. So I might call this border. And bam, toss that down there. Hee hee. and I'll lock the reference layer. Actually, no, I won't lock it because then I won't. Well, actually, no, I'll lock it because I don't plan on zooming in. As long as I don't plan on zooming in, I'm fine. And there we go. That's 16 by 9. That's wide. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of mess around with some stuff. Whenever I do a thumbnail, I like to set down, and whenever I do an environment, I like to set down a vanishing point because you should always know where your vanishing point is at. And I like to have kind of an idea in my head of what I want to do. So I wonder what it would be like if I just kind of thumbnailed out this scene right here, just as it is. Well, obviously it's a one-point perspective because everything's traveling towards this point over there. So I'm just going to create some vanishing points real fast just to help me out. I'm going to do that with a hairline. I'm going to set it to black, and I'm going to do this, like that. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to intersect that point a bunch of times. There we go. And I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to hit F8. I'm going to turn it to a symbol, and I'll call this vanishing. And then what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll put an alpha on it so that it goes to where I can barely see it. I just want it to kind of be there. You guys might not be able to see it, but I can. And this works for me. So, I'm going to do that. And I might go ahead and use one of those lines as my horizon line as well. So I might go a bit of a Dutch angle here.
You're putting an alpha on it?
Uh-huh. I put an alpha so that I can barely see it. I don't want it in my way. And I'm going to put it on its own layer as well. One thing you'll notice is that I use a lot of layers. I like using lots of layers. I'm going to lock that. That way I don't accidentally touch it. So there. Sweet. Now I can go ahead and come to this layer, which says use this layer. And I might call this thumbs. Bam. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab a nice color. I like to work with a very light gray at first. Very light gray. Even lighter than this. Where I can barely see it. Just like that. And I like to just go ahead and flesh things out real fast. I just do the entire thing. So let's figure this out. This would be the kind of thing where we've got a bit of foreground over here. I'm going very loose. I'm treating this like a brush. Obviously, if you've done a lot of Photoshop work, this comes really natural to you.
Zach, zoom in.
No, I won't. I won't zoom in. The point
No,
of
for our sake, so we can actually see what you're drawing.
oh, good point. No, I can do that. I forgot. Okay, hang on.
Oh, that's what you mean.
There you go. So I'm still looking at this from far away,
Yeah,
but
that's better.
you guys can see this a lot closer. And I'm just gonna I've set my brush to the smallest brush, and I'm just kind of matching what I have up here, just as a nice example. It looks like we've got these arches. And notice how I'm not constraining myself to the box. I'm drawing outside of it. I'm just making this feel very organic. There's a lot of trees in here. There's a lot of vines and stuff. But I'm not really worrying about a lot of detail right now. I'm just trying to get it all fleshed out. Get some stuff in here, you know? Got like this waterfall coming off over here. And we got... I'm just going to start like... just get a feel for what this is. And it looks like we've got this very small thing over here with like these stairs. We have a little window. Another little waterfall coming down there. We got like some more banisters. And we got like another waterfall coming down there. Now it's starting to feel a little fleshed out. I'm starting to get a better idea of what this is like. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay. So now that I've got this, my next step will be to start to flesh it out. So what I'm going to do next is... If I were using Copic markers, which is the way I was taught how to do this, I would use pure black first, and then I'd slowly work my way over to a 10% gray. But I'm not. I'm using Flash, so I have to think in a different way. Let's do this. Let me work backwards. So I'm going to... Yeah, I'm just gonna mess around with some stuff. You know what? Let's go ahead and put this on its own layer, and I'll create another layer above it. I'll call it Thumbs 02, and I'll lock the layer beneath it, and I'm gonna go ahead and go to a black, and I might zoom in once. That way I'm a little further, and I'll make this a little. There you go. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take what I've drawn. If I can. There we go. Take what I've drawn, and I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do with it. So, let's see here. How can I'm not even gonna look at the reference anymore. I looked at the reference to create my rough little thumb. Now I'm gonna try and actually flesh this out a bit more. So I'm just gonna go very loose, and I don't wanna go into too much detail. Just kind of meh. So it looks like I'm kind of turning this into like a tree that's coming down, and maybe this tree is coming down over the foreground, and like some of the leaves are poking down over here from the branches. And I like the idea of there being kind of like dirt over here, and we go up to this hill, and there are these rocks. You know what? I like the idea of it being kind of dirty, with the like dirt and pebbles, but maybe it starts to like turn into a more geometric object, and now we're kind of getting into more stairs. That kind of circle or kind of disappear behind this foreground element that just gets in the way here. Don't know what it is, but it's in the foreground, so it's awesome. And then what we'll do is the stairs kind of disappear up here into the distance, and who knows where they go. And then what we'll do is we'll have like waterfalls falling down, but I don't want to worry about that right now. That, bam, and now we're gonna do like this kind of hill here, and I like the idea of maybe this is like a broken pillar, huge broken pillar, and it's got like part of the lower pillar, or the pillar that it would attach to, like hanging up there. There's the underside of it. We have that, and then we have like stones. Want to make this feel very natural, but maybe what we'll have is this is the interior of a room, and we've got like off here in the distance this little staircase going up like that, and it leads to this very narrow door like that, and then we have kind of these pillars. But now I'm getting too geometric. I don't want to get too geometric. I don't want to lose the organic feel. So now that I've got some nice straight lines here, I might go ahead and add in some more geometric stuff. So let's go ahead and break that pillar right there, and maybe it breaks a bit, and there's part of it falling over right there. And let's go ahead and maybe we'll add in some, like a hill of dirt that's kind of caved in right here, and it's kind of fallen over and it's covering this stuff up, and maybe there's like a gigantic kind of hole in the wall right there that leads to the outside. And And I want to have that kind of curved archway wall. Now we're starting to get to more of like just a very detailed, just meh. We've got a little bit more detail than we had previously. So if I go back to the original, we had that, and then I zoomed in once and bam, did a little bit more detail. And this kind of gives me a better idea of what I'm trying to go for here. And now what I might do is I might grab this black here, and I might change it to a darker gray. And I might change my brush to a little thicker, and I might start to mess with some other elements. Maybe there's like a waterfall coming in here. And I'm just going to indicate it very loosely like that, and maybe there's a bit of a waterfall kind of trickling down there. There. You know what? I don't really like that thick brush. I'm going to go ahead and go to a thinner brush again. Water falling down there. Maybe there's water all over the floor there. Water trickling down. Maybe there's a hole here and water trickling down and got some splashings like that. And maybe there's like a stream going over here, and it kind of fills in this entire foreground area here. So we got water here. So that's nice. Now it's starting to feel decrepit and broke down. We got some more water around there. Let's go ahead and start to plop in some stuff. So I'm just going to grab a 50% gray. I'm going to set my brush to the highest one, and I'm going to set it to paint behind. And alright, awesome. Now we've got a 50% gray back there. And now what I might do is start to add some white. Let's go ahead and go to a lighter gray. And I'll go to paint. I'll go to paint normal, and I'll set my brush back to small. And I'll start to mess with some white. There's some lighter colors, so maybe there's some brightness over there. And it kind of fills up the room a bit. And we've got, I like the idea of...
How exactly are you deciding what goes where?
How am I deciding what goes where? Explain a bit more.
Like, as far as the lighting.
I'm thinking of the light source.
Like what has highlight?
You have to think of the light source. You always have to be aware of where your light source is coming from. I'm thinking of the light source as coming from the doorway over here, but I'm also thinking of it as like coming in through holes in the ceiling. Like we are inside of a room with no light. The only light is natural sunlight kind of breaking in through holes. And that's the way I'm kind of figuring out this lighting.
That's where I keep on having trouble, is that I don't know if it's just situational or what, but I always think of the light coming from pretty much everywhere, so it's always hard to pin a one source, or I mean even just in like a regular outside, light is everywhere.
Yeah, you don't want to think of it like that. You want to think of it as having just one, as what sources do they come from, and just worry about that one source until you're done with that, and then you can worry about other things. So I'm gonna do that. I like the idea of as we get over to here, there's like a that. I like the idea of this. Being kind of like that, and maybe all the stuff over here is like that, and maybe all that over there is like brighter as well.
It seems like what our problem we keep running into is we keep being too detailed, and like we're almost doing illustrative stuff instead of doing the concept.
I would agree with that. Definitely what I'm doing right now, you might think it's detailed, but it's not. It's just very loose. Like, I'm probably going to give myself another 5 minutes with it, and then I'm done. I'm going to force myself to stop, and I'm going to move on to the next thumbnail. Because that's the point of thumbnailing. It's all about going fast, staying loose. And I'm just kind of messing with a bit of lighting here. and just kind of filling it in.
I know it's a bit situational, but what do you think is a good time limit for a thumbnail for a series?
A good time limit should be about a half hour tops. You should not be spending more than a half hour on a thumbnail. If you're spending longer than a half hour, then you're definitely doing something wrong. Oops.
You do thumbnails of thumbnails?
You could do thumbnails of thumbnails. Like, I just did that. I did one thumbnail, and then I dived in deeper, and then I just basically took that same thumbnail, and I did another thumbnail that was just a little bit more detailed of that thumbnail. I did it, and it's working pretty great for me. I'm just kind of messing with some lighting right now. I've got enough to where I know what I'm trying to do here. And I'm just trying to mess with some lighting. It's hard to do it when I don't have Photoshop. Just trying to get this right here. Probably shouldn't have approached it. I'm gonna try approaching it a different way for the next one. But that way I've got kind of a nice loose area. I think I might do one more thing. I might grab all of this stuff here, and I might set. Oh, wait! Before I grab it, I'm gonna set this down to one more lighter. I'm gonna grab it, and I might do just one more kind of thing there. There we go, and we're kind of getting more of that. So now what I can do is I can pull back, and you'll get an idea of what I'm going for. It's so thumbnails, when you zoom in really close, they always look really weird, but that's the point. It's supposed to look weird. When you zoom away, though, you have a better idea of what you're going for. Just very loose, very simple.
You could say the same for any painting in a museum.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But there you go.
Really close to it, especially like pointillism.
And how about sense of scale?
Good point. Yes, thank you for reminding me. The last thing I would do to top off my thumbnail is I would create another layer on here, and I'd call this layer Care. And I would grab my darkest color and my smallest brush, and I don't know, maybe actually I'll use a dark red just to indicate that the characters are there. And I might go ahead and indicate some characters over here just to kind of get an idea of what is this sense of scale. So I like the idea that
Somebody should stand on top of that pillar there, I think.
Put them on the stairs.
kind of like that. That's how big I'm thinking here. I'm thinking that this is gigantic. This is ginormous. This place is huge. Oh God. And that would be a thumbnail. That took me that was like a half hour, including gathering reference. So bam, one thumbnail. Now I'm gonna move on to the next one. So for my next thumbnail, I'm gonna go ahead and do an exterior thing. So let's go ahead and I'm just gonna grab this border that I've already created. I'm gonna copy and paste it over here. And you know what? I'm actually gonna do a vertical pan. So let's do a vertical pan. So I'm gonna do that. I'm going to lock the border. I'm going to come back to my vanishing point. I'm going to copy it and paste it over here. And where will I do for this vertical pan? Looking up, horizon line goes down. Should we do a 1 point vanishing? What would this be like? I want to be looking up at this. Like gigantic thing. Well, maybe instead I'll do something where the horizon line's right here. Maybe I'll straighten it out a bit. And vanishing point can't be right there though. That doesn't work. Horizon line can be there, but not the vanishing point. vanishing point would have to be way over here. Yeah. How best to do this? Ooh. That's feeling better. Yeah, okay. No, I was just putting the horizon line. You know, I'm gonna do a bird's eye instead. Okay, so I'm gonna keep the vanishing point up there. And I'm gonna grab my thumbs layer. Bam. And I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna grab the lightest gray, move it up a bit more so it's even lighter. And let's just kind of sketch this out real fast. I'm gonna zoom out once. I want to start very loose. So since I'm gonna zoom out, I guess I'll zoom you guys in. Oh no! Why, computer? Why do you betray me? Ah. 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 There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of use one of these other thumbnails as a bit of a guide. I just want to kind of get an idea of what I'm trying to go for. So let's stick to the horizon line for that edge right there. And then let's do, I'm just going to kind of copy this reference image a bit just to give myself like a bit of a starting point. There's nothing wrong with that. Pablo Picasso once said, good artists, what was the quote? Good artists borrow, but great artists steal. I think that's what it was.
Yep, that's the quote.
Yep.
Love it. And you should definitely take it to heart.
Who said that again?
Pablo Picasso.
That's right.
Except on DeviantArt.
Okay, so I've got my waterfall, and it's this huge, epic waterfall with, you can't even see the land. It's just, bam, it's all the way over there. Well, maybe you can. You know what? Maybe I will have some land over there, but it's like the kind of stuff that, they're like mountains. You're like, whoa, this is really far out. Like, I don't know what's over there. And I like the idea, actually, of like this mountain kind of coming down all the way over there. I'm going to draw a bit more, just so I have an idea of what the heck. Where are we in this world? Mountains over there. And how do I envision this castle? I really liked the whole, it kind of coming out over the edge, or not over the edge, starting more on the lake. And all the way over there. And I'm just going to go silhouette. I like it kind of spiraling up like that, and then coming down into the waterfall. And then it would go deep into the waterfall as well. And then there'd be, got my vanishing point. I like the idea of there being like platforms. Like that, and there'd be like little islands, and the water would be flowing off of them, and going down. And then I like the idea of there like being a big hole in the castle, and like part of the waterfall is kind of pouring through the hole as well. And there's more stuff down here, and it goes all the way down there. It's crazy. It's this huge, crazy, tall thing. And no idea what I'm doing now. I'm even losing it a bit myself. So that's the point where I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in once, and I'll reorient your guys' screen. That way you can see what I'm doing here. And I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can approach this in a bit of a different way than last time. So let's go ahead and not put down that gray. Let's do yeah, let's do it kind of start off sort of in the same way. I'm going to do this in a bit more detail so I have a better idea of what I'm looking at. So I've got a loose idea. I liked the idea of... Ooh. Forgot to change my color to black. Like these big spiky thingies. Trying to maintain my perspective. Which I'm failing at. And I liked the idea of being like a platform that went around it, kind of like that. Maybe there's a doorway that goes into there. Something like that. And I want it to go into the waterfall, which I'll do later. I'm just doing the exterior of the waterfall right now. And we got water gushing. And this would go into this even taller part here. And that would be another. As the waterfall gushes over the side. And I want to try and use lines to indicate some depth here. So let's. Ooh, I have to flash freaking out on me there. And let's kind of make this go up a bit.
Kind of cool. It looks like a footprint, like a claw.
Hey, it kind of does, doesn't it? Huh. Yeah, good point.
Would be a giant griffin statue.
And I kind of like the idea of these other, you know, platforms being around. Where's my vanishing point? Grr. Over here, and oh, but this is going to the foreground, so now I'm messing with foreground. Forgot about that. Good point. So what I should do instead is I should have a bit of a platform coming over here in the foreground, like that. Yeah, forgot about that. This waterfall is going over there. And it's pouring over. And then I like the idea of us only seeing a small smidgen of this. So let's just make this feel larger, and let's stick with the architecture that we've already kind of established. That is here in the foreground, and maybe we've got even something else over here. And let's go ahead and let's copy this shape but make it a bit bigger and go with something kind of like that and that, and then that kind of goes up into the heavens, because there's no way we could fit this entire castle in one shot. It's just too large for that. And we're gonna use some lines to indicate detail, and it's just going up higher and higher. Oh, but
Well, I see. You've sort of zoomed in, haven't you?
I have kind of zoomed in, didn't I? Just accidentally, without really intending to, I sort of started zooming in, and now I'm actually drawing just a kind of the front of it, aren't I? Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go with it. That's the point of a thumbnail. It's just you just draw it and you see what happens. And I'm actually gonna have like water pouring out of here, and maybe yeah. So now we're starting to have some really cool stuff happening here, and I like the idea of maybe this right here actually being kind of a platform. for like some more stuff, and there's like little rails.
The issue I'm running into with the platforms is how are they connected to this castle?
I like the idea of this, where it's like this. We've got water kind of parted here, going off to either side, and it goes kind of into the waterfall. It's because this castle, it's built into the cliff that the waterfall is going over. So we're like in this scene over. Oh, you guys can't see. In that other thumbnail, maybe we're actually underneath the waterfall, and like the whole castle's just kind of built into it. And I don't know, I think I have enough here for this thumbnail to go ahead and move on to the next step. I'm just going to start to flesh out some stuff. So let's go ahead and move to a... What if I should start it off the same way as last time? I know that last time I kind of had some trouble with it, but I think all I have to do is just use more layers. So I might, instead of calling this thumbs 2, I might call this black 100. And then beneath that, I might call this gray 50. And then I'll only put gray 50 on this. So bam. Or 60%. I guess it is a 60, isn't it? So I'll just call this 60. And I'll only do 60% on this. And all I'm going to do is just kind of fill it in. That's all I'm going to use that for. So bam. So now I've got my 60. And now what I'll do is, I think I'll do a layer on top of the gray 60, and I'll call this gray 20. And I'm going to make sure that I select the 20% gray. Oh, that's not a 20% gray. That's oh, I forgot going to 100 is actually, it's the opposite of Copic markers on Flash. This should be an 80. Alright, I've got to rename my stuff, and call this an 80%. This one we still call the 60, but the black is actually a gray 0. Alright. But I've got my gray 80.
You did specify you weren't doing it the same as with Copic markers.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot. But let's do this. So I've now got my gray 80, and I'm going to indicate a light source. This light source is going to be up here because it's sunlight. So let's just start to throw some light source stuff in here. I'm just gonna go haphazard with it. It's a thumbnail. I'm not gonna try to be perfect.
No, I was saying earlier you were right. Because you said, you know, they taught me to do it this way with Copic markers, but I'm not going to do it this way because it's a little different.
Yeah. So we got light coming up, and I like can't forget about the water. We got like kind of shiny stuff glinting off the water because water is highly reflective. I'm going to use a thicker. Still, I'd have to study that Wind Waker reference a bit more and figure out exactly more of the reflective properties of this water, but I'm just kind of, it's a thumbnail. I'm not trying to go for beautiful detailed stuff here. I'm just trying to give something that we can work off of. And I like the idea of basically doing this, where, bam, we've got sky over there, and then this is all castle. And we'd have sky down here, bam, and that's some kind of weird platformy thing. So let's go ahead and go the opposite. Let's go ahead and beneath the light, we had a gray 60. Let's do a gray, well, let's go 30. So I'm just going to set this to 30. Bam. So it's darker. And it's beneath that. So let's start to toss in some dark colors here. Get a sense for some 3D And I like the idea of the castle. Well, actually, I just like the idea of the castle just being darker than the water. So you know what? I'm just going to darken in the entire castle. Let's just do that. So that, and we had that with water kind of rising over it, like that. And this was.
Is there a specific reason that you thumbnail in Flash instead of Photoshop?
I'm only doing it right now because I'm just used to Flash. I'd probably recommend doing this in Photoshop. I might go ahead and open up Photoshop and just do a thumbnail in there and see if it works a lot better. Because it is kind of annoying me right now trying to do this in a vector program. But I'm just trying to show you guys how you can be loose. You shouldn't worry too much about the detail. And yeah, that kind of got me what I wanted. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and have some fun here, and I'm gonna that like that. So yeah, let's zoom out and see what this looks like. Don't feel as strongly about this one as my other one. I don't think I quite knew what I was doing as I started it. It started off as a big thing and it kind of shrunk, didn't it? Yeah, it did. Nah, I'm not really liking it. So, meh. It only took me about 25 minutes. Wasted thumb. That's the point. Not every drawing you do is going to be a good one. I would move on to another one. And that's what I would do. So I showed you one method for drawing thumbnails, and that's where you start off with a very, very, very light gray. You just kind of get a feel for the entire drawing. And then you zoom in once, and you start to detail it out, and then all you do after you have all the detail is you just start to fill in light sources. So that's one way of doing thumbnails, and it works really well. It's one really good way of doing it. That way you wind up with a lot of detail, but you wind up fleshing everything out with just nice, solid blocks of color that kind of give off a semblance of light. And it goes really fast. I mean, I did both of these in under an hour. And, I mean, if I set aside, you know, like a solid 5 or 6 hours a day to work on it, I could get, 12 of these done. Yeah, no, I could get 12 and more. About 12 to 15 of these done. And they'd all be as detailed as this. And that's the point of a thumbnail. The point of a thumbnail is to get something that gives you enough of a semblance of what we're looking at, enough to where an illustrator could take it and go, yeah, I'm going to make that look, more detailed. Like I could take this and draw it a little bigger. But it's loose, it's fast, it's meant to be quick. And that's one method for doing that. There are other methods, though, and I think I'm going to show you guys one of those other methods right now. So let's go ahead and do this.
I say open Photoshop.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna stick to here for now. But give me a moment, and I'm gonna start over on a new frame here. It's one of the nice things about doing it in Flash is you can do it like this. There we go. So I've cleared up my space, but I've still kept my other thumbs. So I'm just gonna do all this inside of one file. And I should save. Ha! Save. Good stuff. Alrighty, so that was one method. Let's dive into some other methods for doing thumbs. And we're gonna need our border again. So same thing. I'm just gonna do another 19. Do another 16 by 9. Lock my border. And I really like the idea of doing this whole gray 0, gray 80, gray 30. I like messing with these grays. That's a nice way to go about it. So other methods of going about doing thumbs. One method is you kind of approach it in a different way. And let me show you what I mean. I'm going to jump on my gray 60 layer and make sure I set this to gray 60. And I'm just going to toss in a solid block of color. And I'm going to start from a 60% gray. Bam. And then I'm actually going to draw in. I'm just gonna work from. Well, I gotta grab my vanishing point, which I gotta copy over from here. Whoops! I'm used to using a Mac. That's the Windows button. And let's grab this and let's move it down to there. And I'm going to go ahead and drag that up here for now. There we go. So I'm going to toss that on top of everything. Bam. Alright, we've got our gray 60, which I'll lock. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the gray 80. So let's go back to a gray 80. Or you know what? Let's just go to a pure white. Why not? So I'll create a new layer. And I'll call this gray 100. And make sure go like that. Okay, there we go. All right. And haha! So let's do some stuffings here. So this is another way of going about doing a thumb. And you'd start off from a 50, and you would kind of just figure out what you're doing in just solid blocks of color. So what I want to draw is I want to draw a gigantic room, a huge room with I want to be on. No, I don't know. Someone come up with an idea. Just say something.
Something with lots of
Throne
stuff.
room.
What? I have no idea what either of you said.
Do the throne room.
Ah, yeah,
You
okay.
said something with a lot of stained glass.
Let's do the throne room. Yeah, because that has stained glass. Okay, so we're gonna do the throne room. So how do I want to do this? I want to have a low angle, so I'm looking up, and I want to have throne. All right. Damn, I'm very tempted to do thumbs in the other method. I'm trying to show other methods. I don't.
Go for it, Zach. We won't hold it against you.
Let's just
What?
Okay, I'm just gonna go back to a black, and let's
Because I know what you're trying to do, Zach. Like you're trying to do like the solid blocks of color that make up the shapes and things like that.
yeah.
And I think it's kind of one of those things that's really, really tricky to do. Like you're going to need to have some sort of little sketch.
You are.
Then you can delete the sketch.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I forgot a very important thing. And that is this. I do need to have my little sketch first. No matter what, I gotta have my little sketch. So let me just really quickly do a little sketch just to give me an idea of what I'm about to work with here. And here's what I have in my head. It's like this foreground element here. A little bit foreground element there. Midground. Midground. Background. Oh, do you want me to zoom in for you guys? Oh God.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? Ah. 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 There we go. That way you guys have a better idea of what I'm looking at here. Okay, I like that over there, and then... Ooh, going up. Like that, and then... There's just one idea. I don't really know what I'm doing here. Just trying to get a semblance of how this room is composed. And I see I'm drawing it too small. It's too small. This needs to feel larger, more grand. So let's make it feel larger and more grand. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take what I've already drawn. I'm going to shrink it down.
And shrink it?
Yep. Like that. There we go. And then you know what? I'm going to grab... I'm going to grab it. I'm actually going to stretch it out a bit so that it's wider. And it's still on this Dutch angle here. But I've still got the throne chair in the center of the vanishing point. There we go. That's feeling a little bigger. And let's make this even bigger. Just want to have that big foreground element right here. There we go. That's feeling. Like that. But at the same time, we also want to have some more fun with it. So, this is the throne room. How can we have more fun with this throne room? We need water. There should be water in the throne room.
Disco
So,
balls.
we need to figure out how we can have water in here. Alright, let's do this. Let's have... massive waterfalls along the sides. And then behind the throne room is just a huge waterfall that's coming from nowhere. Like, and this kind of is a break in the ceiling. And it actually, like, it's the outside. Bam, waterfall. Out of nowhere. And yeah, that's feeling kind of cool. I'm liking that. Let's go with this. Okay, all right. So there, you always have, no matter what kind of style of thumbnail you do, you always have to start with a very brief sketch. I've got my sketch. Now I'm going to go ahead and approach this in a different way than last time. I'm not going to detail it out. I'm just going to toss down a block of color, and I'm going to use that block of color to just set down meh. That. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my black. I'm going to grab a big brush, and I'm just going to go grah, there. Big foreground element. And like that. Excellent. Okay. And I think that might be the only black things I put in this. Yep. All right. And then what I'll do is I'll go down to a gray 80, which is a very light color. Is it? Yeah. Oh, it's the same color as the, let's not do a gray 80 then. Let's do, let's see here. I want to do this color next. No. So gray 20. All right. I don't even have a layer for gray 20. So let's go meh, gray 20, meh, and meh. Okay. And here we go. So let's go ahead and do some more stuff in it. So I'm going to I'm going to block this out. Let's go. I would like to figure out the color of these waterfalls. So you know what, before I do anything else, I'm going to do the color of the waterfalls, which is a white, and that's a gray 100. It is a gray 100. Ah, I put the black on the 100 again. Copic markers, why? Okay, and gray 100 is a pure white. Ugh. And I'm just going to block it out with color. So, actually, I like the idea of these waterfalls kind of going into something. So, and I can just, bam, fill them in. So waterfalls falling down, and I also like the idea of the waterfall back here being really bright. So da 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 da. Big waterfall behind that guy, like that. And if we turn off the care, that's one way of going about it. I do prefer the other way a lot better, but this is just one way of going about it. Grab that, which is a gray 20, and now I can start to mess with some other stuff here and just kind of start to fill in some color. Because the light source is coming from kind of like the further you go in, the brighter it gets. Like that.
I know with these, Zach, when I do my thumbnails, like especially when I was doing like Dawn Forest stuff, I did the sketch in black and then I duplicated it, just so like I had it, and then every time I added in a new element, like a new color, I erased the lines so that it started to be that like the color was defining what was going on instead of the line.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to go about it too. There really is no truly like something kind of like that. And I don't know, I'm done with this thumbnail. I'm kind of like meh. I gotta stop this thumbnail. Sometimes you'll just hit a point where you go, you know what? I gotta stop. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Not quite what I was thinking, but
Actually,
Looks
looks a lot
bit
better
more
once
like a
you see
cave.
that.
well,
But
it
it's
always
okay.
yeah, like it does look too much like a cave, doesn't it? It's like they needed to have more structure to it, and I wound up not putting in structure because I was drawing out of my element. I still prefer doing thumbnails like this, where you just do a little bit of, where you do kind of a semi-detailed sketch, very quick, very gestural, and then you just start blocking in shadow and light, and that's it. That's what you leave it as. So there's just four colors being used. The pure black for the sketch, and then a solid 50% gray for the fill on everything. Then you use a light color for light, and then a dark color for shadow, and that's all you do, and then you move on to the next one. That's just the way that I prefer to do it. This is kind of a different way of approaching it, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just a different way of doing it, and it might be easier for you to do it this way. What I would like to do is, I wouldn't mind seeing some Photoshop work, because I know Photoshop handles things in a much different way. Let me open up Photoshop real fast. All right.
We may need a cave later on.
True. Good point. Alrighty, let's get a look at this. So I'm gonna go File, New, whatever. And, oh, okay. Didn't know my whatever was a horizontal pan. Look, oh my god! How big is this? Maybe I shouldn't have gone File, New. Oh, holy crap! I just want to go to letter. There we go, US paper. Okay. That definitely did not work. Alright. So here's another way of doing it. So let's go with the hard edge. Man, I really have to learn how to use Photoshop again. This is the kind of thing where... Oh my god. Really, Photoshop?
For that, I would take the marquee tool, I would make a box, I would stroke it.
I don't know how to do that. I'm just going to do everything with the brush tool because I am so out of practice with Photoshop. I really am. It's actually a little depressing. So, yeah. I'll try to do stuff. Okay. So, here's another way of doing it.
There's a super quick way to make... Oh,
Yeah,
there's a
just so
super
you
quick
know
way to make
that.
Oh, well, it's too late. I've already started. So, let's try something else here. Let's go with, someone... Let me try to go with another exterior shot. Let me see if I can master that exterior shot. Ah, yeah, see, this is so much more paintbrushy. So much more interesting. Certainly doesn't help that Photoshop is lagging horribly. The hell? Oh, I am running a crap load of things. Yeah, let me go ahead and close Flash. We're not going to go back to that. I've shown you enough of what you can do with Flash, so... Yeah, save changes. Okay, and let's close Flash. Maybe that'll speed things up. Hopefully. Yes, it does. It did. Okay, thank God. All right. Let's figure some stuff out here. Let me I'm just gonna
I
kind
say do
of.
the throne room again.
You want to try the throne room again? Yeah, let's try it again.
Yeah, you should try the throne room.
All right, we'll do that. So let me try to do the one that I was originally trying to do, where it was a Dutch angle. You had the vanishing point over here. Wow! Oh my god. Flash, you have spoiled me. Oh god.
Kyle, how do you make
you can-
really fast perspective lens? Because I
No.
actually would like to know as well. Oh, come on,
Um,
Zach.
Come on.
Go ahead.
You go into the
You also
poly-
just on your background.
Ah. That hurt my ears. You go into the polygon tool and you set the sides to 100 and you click on the options for it and you make it a star.
Oh, that's actually pretty smart.
And for all you Photoshop newbies out there, what Zach is doing right now, drawing on the background layer, don't do that.
Oh, I am! No! Ow! Why? Why did I do that? Stupid frickin'.
I have done that many times, and I have done Photoshop more times than I can imagine.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
I hate it when I do that. Too.
I don't need a background layer. Background layers are pansies. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Oh, I'm so out of practice. It's just not funny. It's not funny. And yet I'm laughing. Okay. No. Trying to. How do you? Is it Control Alt Z to go back a bunch? Yeah, it is. Ah, it's all coming back to me.
The best thing to do is to set the keys on your Cintiq to do it for you, Zach.
No. Stupid.
Just saying.
But yeah, no, she's right. So what I'd originally envisioned was that there were like piles of gold. This was like gold around here, trinkets. That's what I was trying to do earlier, but when I got into like my waterfall frenzy. But I still really love the idea of there being a big waterfall behind there. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna make this go like that, that go like that, and that kind of go behind like that, and just very rough. They're like pillars, and there we go. I'm gonna draw up now. This is how high the ceiling is here. It's a vaulted ceiling. There we go. And behind this is just this huge waterfall that's just flowing down behind this throne.
Zach, we can't have any gold. Victor will go after it.
Good point. But, yeah, no, you're right. So maybe that's just rubble instead. Big waterfall. Wind Waker waterfall back there, and there's, you know, like mist kind of spraying out like that. Okay, excellent. This is feeling a lot better. Dun. So, what else can I do to... We need stained glass windows, so let's go ahead and let's have this kind of continue towards us. This kind of continue towards us. And... Actually, no, I don't want that to continue towards us. I want this room to feel larger. So, let's keep the flatness going. And let's go with... Ooh. Maybe we'll keep the... Shape repetition is a really, really good thing for you guys, by the way. Like, if you're trying to figure out how to fill in a space, like, if you've got one shape in there already, repeat the shape. And, I mean, just trust me, it'll really make things so much easier for you guys. You'll actually, I mean, I've been doing it all night. I've just been doing nothing but shape repetition. There we go. So, maybe these are the stained glass windows.
I do that, but I've always just thought I was cheating.
Well, it is cheating, but just because it's cheating doesn't mean that it's wrong. I don't like the idea of like these
You heard it here first, folks.
pillars kind of going up there.
It's not exactly cheating. You're like setting up a system. You need to make sure that everything kind of correlates within the entire thumbnail. So if you have one shape that is reoccurring over and over again, it really sets a strong overall appearance and aesthetic for the thumbnail.
Really, it's the same with whatever you're designing.
Well, I've used the copy and paste method before, and I always thought was kind of, The actual, principle of shape repetition is a good thing. I understand that.
There's concept artists that literally will like paint over photos. Like it's photos that they taken, of course, but they'll just paint right over them.
Yeah, this is starting to feel a lot better now. Loving this. Delicious. It's delicious to my face. Delicious.
Cool angle.
Yeah, Photoshop is definitely the way to do thumbnails.
Yeah,
There's that pencil feel to it.
Completely 100% agree.
Good thing I'm getting Photoshop Monday.
Okay, I think that this is enough for a thumbnail. I could go into way more detail, but I don't want to because it's a thumbnail. So this is enough for me. Now I'm going to try to replicate a method that I learned a long time ago and I haven't really used in a while, and I want to try it out. I don't know if it'll work, but the way I was taught is that after you've done your very light gray, then you grab a pure black and you do your pure blacks first, keeping the light source in mind. So I'm going to do that.
Can you zoom in for us?
Yeah, no, I can. Let me do that real fast for you guys. There you go. That feel better?
Much.
Sweet. Okay, so I'm thinking of the light source as coming from the water. That's where my light source is at. From the water and maybe from like holes in the ceiling up above. So obviously the throne chair is going to be silhouetted. There's going to be the stairs are going to be kind of silhouette, but they're still kind of lit on the top. So I'm only trying to do like the front of the stairs, like that. And then what I'll do is I'm going to darken in the back sides of these pillars. Or columns. Columns? Pillars? Whatever. Like that. Same thing here on this side. And I like the idea of this. Oh, probably some black over here. And this definitely needs to be blacked out. This kind of ring that I have behind the throne room. That entire thing is just going to be blacked out. And I'm just going to...
So you wouldn't want to put down like some sort of gray in the beginning, and then
That's actually not the
like,
way I
once
was...
you've gotten.
It's not the way that I was taught in my storyboarding classes. I was taught that you should put down your pure black first, because it forces you to think of your light source. Like, I'm forced to think of my light source as I do this, because of the pure black. And I don't know if I like doing it this way. I really like just kind of doing a more detailed version of it first. Like the way that I was doing it earlier in Flash, only in Photoshop it's a hell of a lot easier. But I'm just trying to do it this way again to see if, I don't know, who knows, maybe this will actually work out really well. And I don't need to do that one, but I think I might. Oh, whoops, didn't mean to select that. But I'm going to go ahead and draw on this pillar over here. You guys can't quite see it, but I want to do it anyways. Okay, so now I've got a bit more. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to think of the shadow as well. So the throne chair is casting a shadow on the stairs, and then these like these big piles of money or dirt, for Allison's sake, are
For pilot's sake.
are casting, like, they have this darkness to them, so they're mainly dark. Oh my god, Photoshop, I love you so much. Wow, I'm so sorry. And it's casting a shadow away from it. Same thing with over here. Pile. Shadow. Let's vary this up a bit. It's still a little too loose. And I like the idea of there being little pock marks on the ground, casting shadows.
This is kind of This is kind of looking like something I sketched once. I feel so proud.
We got this huge pile of dirt like here, and we would have to put more detail into this to kind of get some more pock marks on this and really get that sense of whatever the hell this thing is.
Well, usually what we do, like especially when it comes to the thumbnails, like when you're doing like the coloring, especially, you'll start like you'll have like maybe like that as a solid black, and then you'll go back and you'll start adding like little highlights or little details of dirt and whatnot. But then the stuff in the way background and middle ground, you wouldn't add as much detail, or if any. And that's how you would separate. This is a foreground element, and this is a.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't really think there is a wrong way of doing it. I think they always they result in the same thing. A drawing with stuff. I can't think right now. I shouldn't be talking right now. I should be drawing.
Well, I'm just thinking about the way that like Leslie does his stuff, because he sat me down and like kind of explained a little bit of it to me.
Yeah, I need to have him sit
especially
me
like
down.
considering our color, especially considering the way that we're like coloring and vectoring out our stuff, I think that would be important, especially when it comes time for these to be illustrated.
I agree. I definitely agree.
My apologies for coming in at 9 o'clock. Like, I completely overslept, so that was my fault.
It is your fault. You're fired. Fire.
Slacker.
Okay.
No worries, Jordan. That's why we take these things.
And so it kind of forced me to think about lighting. And you know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to call this layer 50. And all I'm going to do is just grab a 50% gray. I'm going to go ahead and plug it back there. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh god. That worked.
Or you could use Paint Bucket, whichever one you choose.
Ah, whatever. You and your photoshoppiness. But because of that, I lost my my box, or not my box,
Well,
my
no, you can
That
stuff.
is why you set it to multiply.
I was just gonna say, set your sketch to multiply on top of everything.
There we go. You Photoshop peoples and your knowledge. There, and then I think I'll do a 10, and I'll grab a 10%, and let's go to a 40. Let's just
Do you not want to draw any crystals?
Ooh, didn't even think of that. Hell yeah, I'm gonna draw some crystals.
That
I mean, the crystals would be the light source in these.
Like, I kind of want like a
Kurt,
big crystal thing behind the throne room. Like behind the throne.
Oh, so maybe instead of a waterfall back there, it's like a huge crystal? Huh. Could go with
Wait, I
that.
thought the stained glass was behind the.
We could do anything back there. Like, I was thinking waterfall, but yeah, we could.
Well,
I don't know. Let's see what happens if instead of a
You could
waterfall, I
have-
put like something else back there.
well, you could have the stained glass with crystals going through it, and then maybe there's water trickling off of it.
Good point. Good point. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it. It's just a thumbnail, so I might be getting into too much detail here. But let's just see what happens if I throw in some shapes back here.
to me.
that's gonna look cool.
Sweet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This was a good idea.
Well, what I really like about this composition so far is the fact that now that you have that central throne like to focus on, I think we're getting a much better sense of scale that you were talking about before. That
Well, it's all about using
I agree,
your
especially
vanishing
like if you
point.
look at the crystals, like how huge they are. It's starting to make sense just how massive this place is.
not
Yeah.
only that, like these huge vaulted ceilings, I'm reminded of like
But
churches.
oh, I think I just thought, Zach. I just thought of that. What might be a good reference image for this? Hey,
Oh, yeah?
Zach. Whoa.
Yeah, we had. I just had some huge
I might
lag
know a
from you
good
guys.
reference for this. If anybody saw the Disney's Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
It's all about using your
Lag. Sorry.
I just had some huge.
I was saying a moment ago that if what might be good reference for this that I hadn't thought of is the White Witch's throne, or even just her castle from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the Disney one. She almost had, I think the throne was, what you're drawing there kind of reminded me of her
I was
throne.
almost thinking it would be cool if the throne was like carved out of that crystal structure Zach had back there. Like if the throne itself was part of the crystals.
Is anyone else having like 15-second lag or
Yeah.
Faith? I think you might
Mhm.
be really lagged.
I'm having massive lag.
No,
Okay,
same
so-
here.
Yeah, I'm having problems.
Yeah, we're all having problems here.
So then let's just be really quiet for a little bit after somebody talks, and then we'll talk again.
Okay.
Okay, I think that is much cooler than the waterfall I was thinking about before.
Yeah, I agree. It is a lot cooler. I'm liking this a lot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And you know what? I love doing this in Photoshop. I have to just suggest to all of you guys that you use Photoshop for these thumbnails because this is so much easier than doing it in Flash. Can't believe I just said that.
Yeah, you're always hating on Photoshop.
I am.
And I always think, what's wrong with him?
I've had bad problems with Photoshop. Photoshop hurt me as a child. You know what? That's good enough. That right there is a thumbnail. Even with all the crappy problems I ran into creating this with learning Photoshop again, it still only took me 40 minutes to do this thumbnail. That right there is... Let me zoom out and show you guys what I'm seeing here. There you go. And there you have it. You have a nice thumbnail of a throne room, and I can then move on to the next thumbnail. And it's as easy as that. You shouldn't be going into any more detail than that. You just wanna get your very, very, very light 10%. You wanna. So here's your process. You put down your border, your box. So what size background are you about to work on?
I almost want those pillars that you did to be waterfalls.
Oh.
Zach, I don't think you're holding your control button. So if you're saying something,
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're saying.
Sorry, it's all right. So here we're gonna go ahead and end this tutorial here, guys. I guess as just some final words, I definitely advise using Photoshop over Flash. It's a hell of a lot easier. Definitely try to stay very loose, like this. Don't try to go into so much detail. Start off by putting down your box. Are you doing a traditional 16:9 border? Are you doing a vertical pan? Are you doing a horizontal pan? Figure that out first, so plop down your box. And then after you've plopped down your box, what you would do next is you would do your very loose sketch. Just do a very, very, very loose sketch of it. Pick like a 10% gray or 20% gray and sketch it out real fast, real quick. Be very loose with it. Don't put in a lot of detail. Then go ahead and from this point on, it's up to you what you want to do next. But you want to just go ahead and plop in a light source. So whether you plop in a 50% gray first, and then you add a black, and then you add some light, and then you kind of flesh it out with some more colors, that's really all you've got to do. You don't have to do any more detail than that. Just plop in some light, and then you're done. And you move on to the next thing. You don't have to draw any more detail than that. I know that what I like to do is after I have my rough sketch, I like to toss in my black by kind of just detailing everything a bit more, keeping my light source in mind. And then I just go ahead and, I actually really like doing it this way. It kind of reminded me of the way that I was taught to do it. You toss down a 50, then you worry about your light, and then you worry about your in-between colors. And before you know it, you have a really nice looking thumbnail, and it only took me 35 minutes to do this one, and that was with me messing up a lot. So once I got into a groove with this, I could, bam, start up a new page. It'd only take me about 30 minutes. Bam, start up a new page. Maybe it'd take me about 25 minutes. And I just keep going. I'd knock out a whole bunch of thumbnails. And that's the way it would be. And I hope that you guys learned a lot from this and that you have a better idea of the sense of scale I'm talking about. These rooms should be huge. They should be gigantic. Draw beyond your box. That way you have a good feel for how big the room is outside of your box. I know that like right now if I went ahead and did this, and I know that if I go up to select and go inverse, I remember. And I grab my paint bucket and toss that in. That way I can just see what this looks like. Why? Why tools? Why? How do I unselect you? There you go. Yeah, see? So there we go. There's my background. And the reason why it has such a nice sense of scale is because I drew beyond it. I know how big this room really is. And that really helped me out with the final product. And it turned out pretty good. I'm really liking it. I like this throne room. I love to see more of this throne room. It's a really cool throne room. But yeah, like that's the kind of scale I'm talking about with this castle. I'm talking about something huge, something ginormous, and that's the kind of thumbnailing that I want from you guys. I don't want anything more detailed than this. I don't want anything that's beautiful. I'm just looking for a good sense of environment, a good sense of light. I can pass this off to an illustrator and they can draw this out beautifully and make it look gorgeous. I'm not looking for gorgeous in thumbnails. I'm looking for recognizability. You look at it and you instantly know what you're looking at, and you instantly know where the light is coming from and where the shadows are at, and that's what we're wanting. We don't want to go, oh wow, this right here is an amazing, awesome, detailed pile of gold that has a vase in it and it has some plates. And wow, no, who cares? Put some scribbly lines there. We don't need to know what's in that pile of whatever that is. All we know is that compositionally, that looks cool, having a pile of something there. And that's what we need to worry about with thumbnails. And that's about it as far as thumbnailing goes. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I don't know. I've never really touched backgrounds before. It's just been an area I haven't felt a pull towards. I mean, this is. I think this was useful.
Well, I would say that this isn't more of a backgrounds tutorial. This is more of just how to do thumbnails. If you want to learn more about how to draw backgrounds, I would definitely advise going and watching the backgrounds tutorial that I did. It's on our YouTube playlist. But that's it, everybody. So thanks a lot for being here at this tutorial. I hope you guys learned a lot from it. What I'm going to do for you guys is the two files that I just used, the FLA and the PSD. I'm going to toss those inside of our templates folder. And inside of our templates folder, I will toss those, bam, right in there. And it's right there for you guys. And you guys can, once those upload, you can look at them and see how I did it and how many layers I used, and you get a good idea of the kind of stuff I'm looking for. And there we go. I'm going to go ahead and end up the live stream, everybody.